Hi there everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper.
Now, you know, it's really wonderful to know that you have your emergency food storage set aside so that no matter what happens, no matter what emergency happens, you've got the food that you need.
But what if electricity goes out? How are you going to cook it?
This is how we cook it.
However,
Tiny House Prepper.
here's my little propane stove, and if electricity goes out, I actually can still cook on this. It's got a little pilot that's lit. You don't need electricity to cook with the propane. And this is an old stove, but it's done a good job. But we only have a certain amount of propane. So what do we do if we're in a really bad emergency situation or more long term and we run out of propane?
Now another option that we would have would be to cook on our little cubic mini wood stove. It works really well. The problem is we could only do that in the winter, because if we started this up in the summer, it would absolutely blast us out of here. If you want to find out more about this wood stove, we've done several videos, and I'll put a description in the link below. I'll put a link in the description below for the playlist for the videos. But so we can't cook on this in the summer, it just wouldn't work, it'd be too hot. So the best option is a rocket stove. And so I will show you how to build a do-it-yourself rocket stove with just 25 bricks, very inexpensive, very easy to do, and it works real well. Anybody can use it at any time. A lot of people cook outside on it in the summer just because it's free. So let's go take a look at the rocket stove. To build this little rocket stove, you need 25 bricks. Now, I am using these bricks that are made out of cinder block material because they're the cheapest. I think these were about 50 cents a piece. You can use red brick or fire brick. They're a lot more expensive. These cinder block bricks, there's a chance that they could crack in the heat, but I've never had a problem with it. So for the price, they work fine. But if you want to get fire bricks or red bricks, they'll do better in the heat. You can do that. And then I have over here a base. This is two solid 4-inch cinder blocks, and that'll be the base for the stove. Now this base is not necessary. You can just put the stove right on the ground. And then normally, if you're going to cook with wood, you have to get a lot of wood and you have to start a big fire, and then you have to let it burn down for at least an hour until you have good coals to cook over. And it takes a lot of wood. But this little stove, I'll be able to cook our entire dinner with just that little stack of twigs, which is really cool because you can find twigs just about anywhere. You don't need a chainsaw and a log splitter and whatever else. You just walk through the woods and pick up a bunch of dead twigs, and that'll be enough to cook our entire meal. Now you have to take one of these bricks and you have to split it in half. I usually use a cold chisel. It's a chisel made for cinder block and stone and whatnot, but for some reason I can't find it right now. So you can also use a large screwdriver. You can just use the back of your hammer. I'm going to use a crowbar that has a straight edge on it. All you do is just score it where you want it to break. Just like that. The hammer actually works better than the crowbar. If you're going to use a hammer, you got to have one with a straight claw, not one that bends down. But you can use a screwdriver, like I said, or a cold chisel, and just score it, and it breaks right in half. So now we're actually going to start building the stove. Like I said, you don't need this base. If you want, you can just build it right on the ground, but I'm putting it there. Fill in this square here with the half brick. Now your fire chamber will be right in here. And a lot of people will actually go 2 levels before they start building the rest. And right in here they'll put a metal grate. That way you can put the wood in above it and the airflow gets in below it, and it breathes better, it helps the fire burn better. But I have found that's not necessary if you design it a little bit differently. So what I do is I leave this open here for the air. And then I leave an opening here to put the wood in. Now this one right here, it's not really supported by anything, but that doesn't really matter because when you put the next one on, the weight of it just holds that in place. So then it's a matter of just building it up like this, very easy. So now you have the fire chambers down in here. The air will come in this way. You feed your sticks in this way, and then you get a very hot little fire right in there. Now if you make this too short, there's not enough chimney and it doesn't draw properly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows is about the minimum that you want to go. You can go a few higher if you want, and what happens is the flame is down in there and the air draws in, and the chimney draws it, the heat comes up the chimney and draws it out, and as it does, it sucks the air in from there and there, and it burns so efficiently. Sometimes it even, when it burns real hot and it's sucking the air in, it even roars. It sounds like an engine. That's why they call it a rocket stove, because of the way it sounds when it burns really hot. And then we have that propane stove in the house, and to top this off, I just use the grill from the propane stove, and that'll hold your pot up off of the cinder block, because you got to have room for the gases and smoke to get out. And that works very well. You can pick these up, you know, as an accessory to a stove very easily. If you don't have something like this, then you can just put 2 more blocks like that and put your stove right there. Since I have this, I'm going to use it. Now we also put 1 block right there to support the wood when you put it in like that. So I'll go ahead and get it fired up.
Now since we're doing this in what would be an emergency situation, I'm going to show you how I just put the ingredients together quickly for some wonderful chicken and rice soup, which can be cooked then on the little rocket stove that Bill's going to demonstrate for you. My emergency foods are the Thrive Life freeze-dried foods, and you'll just see how really quick and easy it is to put this together. With everything being pre-chopped and ready to go, soups are something that are especially easy and really good to make with the Thrive Life food. So I'm going to start by putting just well, I've already got some rice in here that I've already gotten started. I won't need too much. If I put too much rice, it's going to thicken too much and turn into like a rice casserole. Alright, but I do have the chicken bouillon, and I'm not going to put too much in because later on I'm going to add some of the chicken sauce mix, but I want a little bit of bouillon in there. So for this whole thing that we're doing for both of us, I'm going to put about a teaspoon in it. I don't want to overdo it. So that would be enough to give it some nice chicken flavor along with the actual meat.
Okay.
Now I'm adding the chicken. Now I'm going to put in some of this wonderful celery. I love the fact that there's no wasted celery. Oh, that's going to be nice. Adding peas. Yeah, that's good. And now putting in some corn. Now the only other ingredient that I'm going to add is going to be some of this rich veloute sauce, the chicken gravy sauce that comes from Thrive Life. But you add that when it's just about done because it'll thicken it a little bit and we don't want it to burn. Alrighty, I'm going to get some water in there. It'll start rehydrating and of course we'll have the water for it to cook. Now if you're not really familiar with the Thrive Life freeze-dried foods, we're going to have links below where you can see recipes, the playlist of Cooking with Thrive that we've done, and also the website. You know, if you want to use it to store for emergencies or for everyday use, which I also really enjoy. So we're going to have those links below for you.
Now to start this, I'm just going to crumple a piece of paper. Put it all the way into the bottom of the chamber there. And I'm going to use some of the smaller twigs that I've got. Put them in here. Doesn't matter if they stick out because as they burn you can just feed them in. Okay, I got quite a few little sticks in there. Now I'm just going to take, this is just old dried pine needles, just dump them down in the top. And I just light it with a fire lighter here. Now, it'll smoke a lot until it gets hot. That's the paper. The paper really smokes a lot. Now the paper's pretty much burnt out and most of the smoke is gone. You can see the flame coming out the top. You know, this is actually a fairly windy day. The wind's blowing like 10 to 20 miles an hour. And this is not affected by the wind because the flame is protected down inside there. It's also usually not affected by the rain a whole lot. Now you got some air coming in here, but that's blocked a lot by the sticks. So you got most of the air being sucked in down there. See the flame down inside there. It's burning along nicely. Now we just put the pot right on top. Cast iron is really good to use for this because it holds the heat really well. It doesn't, it's not affected if it gets too hot or something like that. Now it can get soot, black soot on the bottom, so you just have to kind of wash it off before you put it away. It's still not burning as hot and efficiently as it will in a few minutes. I can see the flame coming up all around, so we'll just let that simmer for a while. You do have to keep feeding it because these little sticks burn up pretty quickly. You can't just set it and walk away like you would a regular wood campfire. But first couple times I tried this, I was using big sticks like this, like the size of my thumb, and I couldn't keep it burning very well. I discovered that I need to mix in with some big ones, I need to mix in some small ones, and that keeps it burning better. That's definitely putting out some heat. Now you can see it's burning pretty good down in there. And the flame is actually coming all the way up around the pot. So that's a good 8 or 10 inch flame from there all the way up. Now it's been about 10 minutes, and as you can see, it's starting to steam. It's starting to boil over there. Now this will actually boil 24 ounces of water in about 5 or 6 minutes. But this is considerably more volume of water plus all the food in there. But it's still doing quite well. I just keep feeding the wood in there. Now it's starting to boil. With that freeze-dried food in there, it'll be pretty much ready to go, except for the rice. Because of the rice, it's supposed to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. The only regulation you have in the heat is to damp it down a little bit. You do that and block off some of the air going in, and then it won't burn quite as hot. And instead of boiling away, it'll settle down to a simmer. Now I have just a small hole over here for the air to get in. It won't use the wood up as fast that way either.
Well, our rice is done, and I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of the Thrive Life rich chicken gravy. It's called veloute sauce, and add just a little bit to finish this up.
See how nicely that's boiling away?
Now it looks beautiful. Just gonna sprinkle some on. Just a few scoops.
Well, this sauce is amazing because if you mix it thick, It makes a really nice gravy to put on mashed potatoes. And if you make it thin like we're doing, it makes a really nice soup base.
Yeah, it adds a creamy, lovely, little bit more like texture and flavor.
It's sort of a creamy chicken flavored white sauce.
Yep. Oh, doesn't that look wonderful?
It does.
There we go, sweetheart. I think it's good to go. I'm going to set this down here. It's not hot. Right there. And how about if I dip some up for you? It's wonderful to still be able to fix a good, nutritious, delicious meal under what could be all sorts of different kinds of emergency circumstances. I'm going to try just a little bite of it here. Yep, that is delicious. Just a nice light chicken flavor. It's got good nutrition in it. And I'm not going to have any waste. I'm thrilled. It's good.
And how'd the stove work?
I'm so impressed with this. This is amazing. Yep. I did a good job.
I used just a handful of twigs.
Yep. Let me film you enjoying the soup.
Okay, I will do that.
So is it good?
This really works for me. Chicken and rice, peas and carrots. Now, we carried the pot back into the house, dished up the other bowls. We were in there for a couple minutes, and we came out. This is completely out. It's completely dead. It works very well, as you just saw, but you do have to keep feeding it because the sticks are so small and there's so few of them that if you let it go for 10 or 15 minutes, it'll go out. So you got to check it about every 5 minutes. So it's definitely a labor intensive, if you will, to make sure it doesn't go out. But when nobody else has any way to cook and you can do this, it really works. Yes. You can also take these and throw them in the back of your car if you're going to go camping and everybody else is out looking for building big fire, campfires, and you can cook on a little thing like this at the campsite. I really love it.
Yeah, it works really well. Well, enjoy your soup, sweetheart.
I will. Thank you, everybody. If you've enjoyed this, if this has been a help, please like the video below. That really helps us. And while you're there, you might as well subscribe. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.
Bye. We're going to have links below to show you our playlist of different recipes that we've made out of Thrive Life Foods, and also how you can get more information about also how you can get more website. What was it?
Yeah.